أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome to the Practical English Learning Program again. Today our topic is using expressions of quantity in adjective class. We're going to have a short clip regarding this point. First, I'm going to explain how to use expressions of quantity in adjective classes. And then we will practice this point by making examples. So in English language we have some expressions called expressions of quantity, like some of, a lot of, most of, the majority of, several of, a few of, for example, a great deal of. Some of these expressions of quantity can be used with countable nouns. For example, many of. This expression of quantity cannot be used with uncountable nouns. We cannot say many of the water, or many of the sugar, or many of the oil. And some of them can be only used with countable nouns and not with uncountable nouns. For example, uncountable nouns, not countable nouns. For example, much of. So we cannot say much of the books. According to grammar, if you hear a native speaker saying that, will be very informal, okay? So there's a difference between formal academic English and informal spoken English. But still, I'm sure that you're not going to hear anybody saying like much of the students or much of the books. So much of the water, much of the information, much of the sugar, okay? So this expression of quantity, much of or a little of, should be used with uncountable nouns. Some of these expressions of quantity can be used with both countable or uncountable nouns. For example, a lot of. A lot of the students, a lot of the water, a lot of the information, right? A lot of the sugar, a lot of the books. So, how to use these expressions of quantity in adjective classes? Look at these two sentences. We're trying to combine these two simple sentences into one complex sentence using an adjective class. So now the second sentence gives more information about this noun, book. So we read the first sentence up to this noun. I bought some books. Okay, when we use expressions of quantity in adjective classes, we need a comma right before the expression of quantity. So here we use a comma. I bought some books. And instead of most of them, we remove the personal pronoun, them, and we use the relative pronoun, which. Most of which were expensive. So now this is one complex sentence containing an adjective class. I bought some books, most of which were expensive. So, because our adjective class modifies the noun books, therefore we use most of which. But here, when we're trying to combine these two sentences, these two simple sentences, so the second sentence gives more information about the noun students. And obviously, we're not going to be using most of which, or a few of which, we're going to be using a few of whom, okay? So we write the first sentence up to that noun. I have a lot of students. And don't forget using a comma. Okay, this is the punctuation of this type of adjective class. While you are trying to use expressions of quantity in adjective classes, you need to use a comma right before the expression of quantity. Don't forget this. So here we use a comma. And instead of a few of them, we remove the personal pronoun them, and instead of this we use most of whom. A few of whom, sorry. A few of whom are doctors. So now this is a complex sentence containing an adjective clause. I have a lot of students, a few of whom are doctors. So now if the adjective clause is modifying a thing, we use the phrase a few or some or a lot of which, okay? If it's modifying, person or people, then we use, a few or some or a lot of whom, okay? Of whom. This is how we use expressions of quantity in adjective clauses. Let me give you some oral examples now, okay? The members of Afghan parliament, a few of whom serve their country honestly, have a lot of privileges. We have a lot of students at Atarut, most of whom can speak English fluently. Yesterday I saw many cars, 3 of which were very expensive. And I have 4 markers in my hand. I have 4 markers in my hand, one of which is black. Okay? 2 of which are blue. Okay? So this is how we use expressions of quantity in adjective clauses. Any questions regarding today's lesson? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, no questions. Everything is fine. So now it's your turn to make sentences, to make complex sentences, to make examples, okay? And after that, we're gonna be done with this part, and we're gonna have the next clip about replacing whose with noun plus of which and noun plus of whom. Okay, come on, make examples. Come on. Who's ready? Yes.
I bought many flags. Yeah.
Sure.
Most of which were cheap.
I bought many flags, most of which were cheap. That's right. Yes. Come on.
I have a lot of books, most of which are English books.
I have a lot of books, most of which are English books. Anybody else? Come on.
I have lots of computers. Few of them which are expensive.
I have a lot of computers, a few of which are expensive. Instead of them, you use of which or of whom. Okay? If your adjective clause is modifying a noun that refers to things, ideas, qualities, places, then you say a few of which. Okay? If your adjective clause is modifying a person, people, then you say a few of whom or some of whom or a lot of whom. Yep. Next. Yep.
He had some fruits, most of which were rotten.
Yeah, he had some fruit, most of which were rotten. Yep.
You have plenty of students,
Mm-hmm.
most of whom are speaking fluently.
Yeah, you have plenty of students, most of whom speak English fluently. That's right. Girls? Come on. Yeah? Uh-huh. A few more examples. It's okay, I'm gonna repeat your examples. Yeah. Examples? Yep.
I read three books, none of which were novel.
Yeah, I read 3 books, none of which
Were novel.
was novel. Okay?
Our teacher appreciated the students, either of whom were lazy.
Yeah. Okay, either of whom was intelligent, or either of whom were intelligent. Okay? So this way, I mean, that would be even better.
Yeah.
our teacher appreciated the students, both of whom were intelligent, or both of whom got high score on their final exam. Okay? Sometimes, according to grammar, your sentence may be okay, it may be correct, but you need a sort of logical, connection as well in your sentences. Come on. Yep.
I have a lot of books, most of which are from Atarut.
Yeah, I have a lot of books, most of which are related to Atarut or from Atarut.
We have lots of teachers, half of them are senior.
Okay. So now change it to
We have lots of teachers, half of whom are seniors.
yeah, half of whom are senior, some of whom are senior. Yeah, great. Great. Yeah,
He has lot of pens,
a lot of pens.
2 of which are blue.
Yeah, he has a lot of pens, 2 of which are blue. Thank you so much. We're done with this part. Have a great time, and we're gonna go to the next part. Yep.
با فراگیری زبان انگلیسی در اتارود، اهداف اکادمیک و مسلکی خود را تعقیب نمایید.